Osbourne, the Jamaican sensation, who is victorious over Luis Gurule at UFC Vegas 105. Congrats! That was a pretty awesome knockout, Ode.
Thank you, Karyn. Yeah, it was one of those where I was just like, that felt good, you know, because I was back-to-back losses. It does something to you mentally, and it's just like, all right, well, you know, can't get any worse than this. You know, you lose one, and you lose another one, and you're like, all right, well, can't get worse than this. So whatever, just gotta go in there and be relaxed and do what I do.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I'm wondering if we could center you up a little bit here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing that, you know, it's so tricky when we are talking to fighters before a fight, and if they haven't won a fight before it or something, and you know, we don't like to talk about guys going, well, coming off a loss, but like we all know it's a storyline for you that you do feel the pressure. So you felt it.
No, yes and no. So it was definitely relieved to get the win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I didn't feel the pressure because another thing is when you mature as a fighter and you lose, you know, so many times, which for me it was like 3 in a row, and I'm just like, oh man, I did everything to prepare for the fight of the spear against Lazy Boy.
Yeah.
You know, and that one didn't go my way. So I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna do me and try not to have any added pressure. Because when there's added pressure added on, it makes my fighting so much harder.
Mm-hmm. Well, that makes sense to be free, I guess, in there, right? I mean, free.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, happens.
Yep, that's exactly how it was. I was like, you know what? Whatever God has for me, you know, it'll be. And I just gotta let go and let God.
Right. Okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense. And you did talk about that in the speech after. And obviously, you gave a big shout out to your coach, Dewey Cooper, and Aljamain Sterling, of course, the former champ. And I'm curious, you know, obviously, there's the Jamaican connection with you and Aljo and stuff. Is that how you guys even first got together? Like, how did that partnership arise?
Aljo and I have been training on and off together for the last 2.5, maybe 3 years.
Okay.
Just, you know, I would go to some of his sessions here, some of his sessions there, and then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna commit fully and do a full camp with Aljo. Mm-hmm. And when you do a full camp with Aljo, you don't really care about getting taken down because you're like, all right, I can get back up for sure. So yeah, it was great. That was definitely the added piece to the puzzle that I needed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would think that would be a great help for you, and it's cool. Like, I don't know, I like when I see champs and former champs in people's corner and stuff and sharing the knowledge. And Aljo's been doing a really good job of that, and I know he's got his podcast and all that stuff too. But like, yeah, there's something really special about being able to see somebody who's been to the top of the mountain already, and they're willing to share that time with you. So that's pretty great.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm hoping someday I'm able to do that for somebody else coming up, you know, because Aljo is very genuine and honest. You know what I mean? He's super he's a straight shooter. If he feels a certain type of way about something, he's gonna let me know, like, I don't know about that, you know. Yeah. And I appreciate that because you don't necessarily find a lot of people like that anymore. Right. So I love that genuineness that it comes from.
Yeah, tough love can be hard too sometimes, Ode.
Yes, it can. Oh, yes, it can. But, you know, I come from a Jamaican background. We're all, you know, Jamaicans, especially the women, man. They're straight shooter. No sugarcoating. They just...
Yeah, well, you know, my mom is the Jamaican one in my family. And so, yeah, it's... she's pretty specific about what she wants and what she would like. And, that's a very true...
I don't do well with all the fluff and all that stuff. I don't need to hear that. I don't need you to build up my confidence. Just tell me what I need to hear and tell me what I need to do.
So then with all that in mind then, when it actually did come to the fight, how, you know, obviously I'm guessing it went according to plan, but like, what did you think the plan of attack would be against Gurule? We know he's coming in here. He's going to have that. He trains at elevation. You know, he's not a guy that's going to get tired. And in general, a lot of you flyweights don't get tired anyway. But what was the strategy going in? And was it one of those things where it just played out exactly to plan? Or was that knockout kind of a surprise?
No, I had to go back to my last fight. And I was like, what did I do wrong in that fight? Mm-hmm. You know, and... other than the first round, the only thing I could think of was I was a little bit too amped to finish him. You know what I'm saying? So I got the triangle and I was squeezing so
I think you froze up a little bit.
Game plans for me was just being calm in there. If I can maintain my calmness throughout the fight, I'll be good because he naturally is super calm. He moves his head well, and he can go the distance. So for me, I was like, you know what? I have to almost let him knock himself out, meaning bait him in by just, staying calm. Because sometimes when I'm too explosive, it kind of they drop back a lot of the time. So I had to, play with my food a little bit. Just do a little thing, bait them in a little bit, make them feel comfortable, and then, boom. That was the game plan.
Yeah, that does sound like it worked. And I even said on the post show when we were talking about your fight, in light of the fights that were coming before this one and the losses, I even said, you seem like you are accepting that you need to mature. You're being smarter about things in there, and it seemed like a conscious effort this time to be more mature, be more patient in there, and I don't know. It just seemed like we can see you evolving right before our eyes, which is tough. You know what I mean? Learning on the job, but you can see it, and I guess it sounds like you are doing that by design.
Yeah, it's very tough because a lot of fighters have great managers and coaches outside the UFC where they get, to lose and get built up correctly. So when they get to the UFC, they're ready, they're polished, right? Whereas me, I came into the UFC with so many sharp edges, mentally, physically, everything. And it's almost like interesting watching myself grow up, like you said, in the UFC, And one of the things that I have understood was that time under the lights is everything. When that was my 11th fight in the UFC. When you've had 7 fights in the UFC, you're kind of like, okay, it's getting better. Now you get to 9, 10 fights, you're like, oh man, you're so comfortable. Yeah. You're so comfortable. And I think that's a big thing. A lot of fighters don't get the opportunity to shed those cobwebs, get the time under the lights, get the rust off, things like that. So I was fortunate to be able to just grow up and show the UFC, like, look, I just need to grow a little bit first. I promise you, I will deliver. Just let me develop and figure my stuff out.
Well, I'm glad that they did, I'm glad. And it's crazy when we think about the flyweights too. Like at one point you guys weren't even going to be here anymore. And then, it's been reinvigorated and there's so many excellent fights there. But yeah, it is also, not for nothing. A lot of people do complain about fighting at the apex, but you've had both experiences now. You had the biggest experience with Sphere and then you're back in apex and you picked up the victory in apex, right? So there's something to be said maybe for, like you said, it's the time under the lights, but also like knowing the environment and being able to be mature enough to understand the moment and where you are. And like maybe the apex environment was exactly what you needed exactly at this right time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. It just everything, man, it's so crazy. It's like you have a checks and balance book, right? And if one thing isn't checked off on your book, everything else goes to crap, right? And so this time I had everything just perfectly crossed off. I left no stones unturned. And with the Apex shows, I like the fact that I can hear my corners.
Yeah.
I don't mind. I don't care if I'm at the Apex or at a big arena. Honestly, it doesn't really make a difference to me. A lot of fighters will say, oh, it's not the same without a crowd. I'm like, how could you say that? You're in there fighting. I'm like, I don't hear anything else. The crowd isn't there with me. I'm there by myself. Right. So it really don't matter.
Okay, well, that's good. And, we talked before about your upbringing and, the Jamaican history and all that. But I am curious, you and there have been some others are really making the best of this opportunity and coming from really humble beginnings and coming from some rough beginnings. If the Ode of today could look back and talk to the Ode in Jamaica running around causing problems, what would you tell yourself?
First of all, the Ode in Jamaica would not believe it because I was barefoot, didn't have much to myself but my name, didn't have much food on the table. So I don't know if I'd be able to believe it, but I knew, even when I was younger, I knew that I was destined for something. I just didn't know what it was. And I would just tell myself, like, I know you don't know what it is that you're destined to do, but just trust in that gut feeling. Because I've always had that feel, that, that chip on my shoulder, that, that I want to be loved. I want to be, you know what I'm saying? When you're younger and you don't get like attention and you don't, you know what I'm saying? You don't get the right, I guess, affection from the adults around you, and you kind of develop this chip. You're just like, man, why is that person getting attention? I'm not getting attention. Like, why? What's up with that? Why don't I deserve to get some love? You know what I'm saying? So you develop this chip that you're like, someday I'm gonna be great, and then all you are gonna force to love me. Damn it!
And that day is here.
Yeah, not yet, but we have a lot of work to do. We got we got a long ways to go.
So yeah, that was my next question. Then, what are the goals for you now?
The goal is for me now. It's different when you're older, because before, when I would win, I'm like, man, yeah, I got the win, I got the bonus. I'm moving and grooving. Now,
froze up a little.
I can't get too comfortable. I can't get too comfortable. I gotta keep the gas going.
Hold on, you froze up a little bit there. You said it used to be when you were winning, you got excited, you froze up a little bit, but now now you're more focused on, okay, I got that win, I'm going to be smart about it and just move that momentum forward.
Just be like, oh, I got the win and that's it. You have to be like, okay, I got the win, but I need to have at least 3 more of those knockouts in order to get to where I want to get to. And in order to do that, I got to get back in the gym and drill and rep and continue the flow, keep the flow going.
And it's interesting too, and the fact that, you're talking about checks and balances and everything checked off. Yeah, I mean, is there anything, even though obviously it was a great win for you and you got the knockout in round 2, is there anything that you now are like, I could have done this a little bit better though? Like, are you critical of yourself after a fight, even in a victory?
Of course. One of the things I was looking at, that's why I love Dewey Cooper.
Oh, he's great.
Me, like, the next morning, he watched my film and he sent me a voice note. He's like, yeah, when you threw that cross, your back leg stepped back probably about 3 inches, versus on the spear, when you hit lazy boy, your back leg steps back about 1.5 feet. Okay. So he's like, the step is much better, but we're going to try to close the distance with your back leg. So not to step back as much, because it takes away the punch, right? It's like hitting here versus hitting here, you know what I mean? When my back leg steps back, when I throw my punch, I take a little bit off of it. And he's like, well, if you keep your back leg stepping forward, then you'll generate more power. That was what he said. And for me, I was pumping my jab, but they were a little bit shallow. I want to keep them longer, so that way my opponents can't get so close to take me down. I'm keeping my jabs a lot longer.
Nice. That's smart. And the jab starts everything, and you do have long arms too, don't you?
I have the longest in my division.
That's right. Use the jab, Ode.
Yeah, and I was using it. They were a little shallow in that first round.
Yeah.
So that's why he was able to get close to me and get the takedown, and then we made the adjustments in the second, kind of kept them a little bit longer, and then I was able to follow it up.
Nice. Well, it was perfect, and I love what you said on the mic after too. Like, I made the mistake with Lazy Boy. I'm not going to do that. I mean, because that was kind of an interesting moment at the end of the fight. What was going through your head?
Well, because at the spear, same thing. Boom! I saw his eyes roll back, and he was just done for. And then I was like, I jumped him really overzealously, and then when I hit him, his eyes he kind of came back to 2. And I was like, damn, I kind of just woke him back up. Oh, man, okay. It's going to be a long night. So I didn't want to do that. I wanted to make sure, Jason Herzog got a chance to get in there if he needed to, if he was actually out. But if he moved, then I'll follow it up.
Right. That's smart strategy. So what did you do anything with the bonus money? Are you gonna treat yourself with a little something and put the nest egg away? Like, what are you doing with the bonus? Because that's pretty awesome.
Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to the fights in Miami and go see my mom. And we're going to go meet with our distribution down there, because I am starting a cigar company.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Your Best Cigars. It's going to be great. So that's something that, again, comes with growth, right?
Yep.
I'm constantly telling myself, O'Day, you are poor and you are broke. That's it.
Yeah.
Focus on building your financial stability, I guess. Because we get that large chunk of money. It's like boom, we go and we buy all this crazy stuff. You know what I mean? And I have first thing is first. This time, I'm like, all right, we got pay our bills off,
Yep.
and then we have about this much room to have fun, and then after the fun, we're back into being responsible and make sure our taxes are good, and get our tax guy on it, and things
Please.
like that. Yeah.
So that don't please be smart. Have some fun, but please be smart.
Yes.
Where is the cigar company? Is that in the States? Is that in Jamaica, or is that?
It is in the States.
Okay.
Right now, it's in Miami,
Okay.
actually. So it's a subscription-based business. So it's a subscription. It's called Your Best Cigar,
Okay.
meaning there's no BACs. BACs, we made that up, meaning like booty-ass cigars. Like we want quality tobacco, like the best you can possibly get, so that we want to live up to the name, Your Best Cigar. We gotta deliver. If you have a name like Your Best anything, you gotta deliver.
Yeah. Nice.
So,
well, good luck with that. I actually years ago I used to write for Smoke magazine. Cigar Aficionado had a little brother magazine called Smoke. And I wrote for them years ago. I actually wrote a whole cover story on the chili peppers for them. And it was great because I used to get free cigars. And I like the little Romeo y Julietas and stuff like that. But I would get, Cohibas sometimes and stuff like that. And, cigars really they're strong for me. But a good cigar and a nice whiskey or something, that's a whole thing. So you and Aljo, with Aljo's rum, you get the cigars, right?
That's exactly what we're doing. We're collaborating. And so we're giving the people a chance to not just buy the cigar and the rum, but you're gonna actually, if you subscribe, you're gonna have a piece of us. So you get little things in the mail from us. So, you know what I mean?
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Without giving too much, but that's what it's
nice. Nice. And before I let you go here, this is speaking of Aljo, he and I over the years, and also when Uriah Hall was still in the UFC, and I know I've talked about this with Rude Boy, we got to get a UFC Kingston or UFC Jamaica or something. And I know it's hard, and it's it's a small place or whatever, but how incredible would that be?
It would be amazing. I don't ever think it's going to happen in this lifetime, in my lifetime, because of the infrastructure, but they could get pretty close by doing UFC New York, Jamaica, Queens.
Right. You're right. We could do that. We could do that.
They really could.
Yeah. There's enough actual Jamaicans there in New York and everything too. Yeah.
I think there's more Jamaicans in New York than there are in Jamaica.
Probably. Well, I'm overdue to go back with my mom. We were there. Gosh, it's been a year already. It was last March or whatever, and so I'm itching to go back. I'm definitely overdue. When's the last time you were there?
Since I came here when I was 9.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
wow.
My mom goes every other month though. She goes all the time. She lives in Florida. That's when we go to
Same with mine.
Fights, I'm gonna go see her, spend 2 weeks with her. Are you gonna be there in Miami?
No, unfortunately, I'm not on that one. But yeah, I know. Yeah, hopefully you have a great time and you get to see your mom and all that. And that'll be cool. Well, listen, I'm really happy for you getting this win, and you turned things around and you did them with style, and you got the bonus. It literally seemed like it was a perfectly scripted night. So I'm psyched for you. And I don't know, you didn't call anybody out after, did you?
No, I didn't, because they didn't ask me, number one, but if they did, I would have been like, you know what? I spent the duration of my last 3 fights thinking about a speech, thinking about an opponent, looking past my fight. In this fight, I just wanted to focus on the task at hand.
Yeah, that's smart, and look what happened.
Yeah.
Awesome, O'Day. Well, I really appreciate you kicking back with me today, and I'm looking forward to your next fight. It didn't seem like you took any damage, so it seems like you could be ready to go again in just a couple months.
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. Well, congratulations and best of luck with the cigar company and everything. And just wishing you well. Keep doing your thing.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Karyn.
Thanks, O'Day. I'll see you soon.
All right. You have a good one.
Thank you. Bye. All right, folks. Well, there you have it. Ode Osbourne. He was on with me, and I believe it was when I did the podcast with Angela Hill a while back. What happened was, so if you want to go back and look at that, you can. But yeah, he's a good guy, and happy for him. So yeah, it was a round 2 knockout over Luis Gurule at UFC Vegas 105. My next show will be down in Kansas City, so if you guys are on that one, I will see you there. Until then, I've got a bunch of other Kickback with KB interviews with a lot of folks, and I got a lot more coming up. I was just kind of took a little bit of a vacation, as I do sometimes. But more to come, and I've got fun throwback clips. I don't know if you guys saw, I shared a throwback clip with Dougie Fresh, where he gave me a beatbox lesson. I've got some, an old thing with Henry Rollins in there and some fun stuff. So anyway, thanks for checking this out today, and I'll see you later.